What up? 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 I'm gonna have a few. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in real quick. Uh, Days of work from home day, so I'll just do what I got to do. Dang, it's kind of hot out here today, man. Whew. All right, what's going on? What's going on? Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna do my little lunch video right quick. I'm gonna do my lunch video. Thank y'all for supporting me. I appreciate everybody that watches my videos, even those that disagree with me. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna come on here and drop some statistical facts in history on some things that are just and show you how people just make shit up to stop and excuses for the apathy and laziness or lack of creativity, lack of just effort. That community. What's up, Marlon? You know what I'm saying? We have a lack of effort. A lot of us do not try. A lot of us have not tried as it pertains to business. A lot of us have not tried as it pertains to academics, and I can prove it, guys. I can prove it. So there was a comment near the end. I saw it, but I kind of stopped. When I stopped, I waited. I said, "Did that brother say what I thought he said?" So I went back and sped back to the end of the video. And one guy, shout out to him, swim team or swim, whatever his name is, swim team, whatever. And this brother said that he does not understand that what was it? That white people or white supremacy. He said white supremacy has been able to create wealth out of thin air, and this is why they do the things they do. Guys, let me explain something to you. Show me one business, since because somebody name me one business apart from the Federal Reserve. Apart from the Federal Reserve, which is true in that case, yeah, you can say that they print money out of thin air. That's been true. But 9 times out of 10, any white person in America that has a business or some sort of investments or something like that, they didn't create that shit out of thin air. Now, a lot of it was from slavery, and I can talk about that. But guys, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. They say like almost 9 out of 10 millionaires today are first generation, 8 out of 10, some ridiculously high number, first generation millionaires. So most of the wealth that you see in the white community right now is people they created. A lot of it was just created. Now a lot of it is passed down too. A lot of the old money is passed down. I'll agree that there's a strong part of the white community, white. I got a white community that the wealth is passed down, and I can agree with that. But a large part of the wealth that is in the white community is first generation. Like I talked about in last video, the guys that started Google, which is, one of, if not the most powerful company in the world right now, I would say it's between Google and Facebook. Both of these are companies that started here. How did they do it, guys? How did they do it? First of all, they had a high propensity. All of the founders of these companies, all of them were guys that all had a high propensity to math, guys. That shows a lack of, hey, what's up, y'all? That shows a lack. That's something that we as Black African Americans don't want to hear. We don't like that shit. That shit burns, don't it? It's like ether. What did Nas say when he went to Hot 97? That legendary interview. Ether burns. It burns. Yeah, that shit burns. I'm sorry, need to burn because it's infected. The shit needs to be healed. And in order to heal the infection that is laziness, that is apathy in the Black community, in order to heal it, you go another gentrified house. I'm on foot now, guys. That's all I see. You know what I'm saying? They did this one, they did that one, about 3 or 4 down that ways, one right there, one right there. They everywhere. But the point I'm trying to make is this, guys. Um, the thing is, man, um, the problem is I hear a lot of people talking about racism, white supremacy. I hear a lot of people talking about the white man did this and the white man did that. But when you really weigh it all down, guys, it isn't that they just had shit. They don't. White people ain't just creating shit out of thin air. See, this the false fallacy of Black people. White people are productive people. Let's go ahead and just accept it, because you're not living in reality. They are productive. Okay, I mean, to sit and say that America's not productive It's just outright ignorance. You know what I'm saying? In America, need an actual culture. Black people don't have a culture. Not talking about religion or Moorish. This is this or that, but a culture. Okay. All right. Well, either way, white people, the so-called black people are not, and the white people, so-called white people, whatever y'all want to say, or whatever. That's what I'm saying. A lot of black people, when it comes to what we are, we can't even agree on what's a select and non-select black man in America. It's a debate for that shit. We can't even agree on that shit. So I don't even get into those. Do we have a culture? Do we have a community? We don't have a culture. We don't have a community. We don't have whatever the fuck we call it. The people that look like this and you know, look like me with woolly hair and big noses, and the women got fat asses. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Us. We are not as productive. People, the productivity can be measured. People, you can measure productivity. To sit and say that white people aren't productive and they just create shit out of thin air. This is the type of boogeyman ass bullshit that people believe. This forces to see what that does is it causes us problems because it then allows us to not take a real look in the mirror and say, why the fuck are most of our PhDs in education? Because I saw somebody say PhDs are meaningless. Yeah, a PhD in education is meaningless. When you hear these hotel people talk about people with their PhDs and they meaningless, most of those people they talking about are people with PhDs in education. But don't tell me a PhD in electrical engineering is meaningless, guys. Don't tell me that a PhD in computer science from Stanford University is meaningless or from MIT. So somebody tell me if I get a PhD from Stanford University or a PhD from MIT in I don't know architecture. You telling me that's meaningless? See what I'm saying? No, it's not meaningless. Now, a PhD in education could be, and most of the time it is in the black community, because almost 60% of our PhDs are in education. So this is why we don't think a lot of us have kind of, and I used to be guilty of this till I started looking at data, hard data, under the hood. See what I'm saying? You go look under the hood and look at this shit. See, we can say racism, white supremacy, but when you peel back the layers and you start looking at it, a lot of this data and shit that it really isn't friendly to black people because it shows a lack of hard work, a lack of effort, a lack of, it shows a lot of excuse making. You see what I'm saying? It just does. Exactly. A PhD in STEM is a board position. You don't really need a PhD in computer science. I have a friend in school who only has a bachelor's degree in computer science, making 153. Dude, I got a business administration degree with a minor in information science. I make that. See what I'm saying? That's what I make. See what I'm saying? I didn't do nothing. I don't have anything in writing that you could say that specifically shows that. I didn't want to know how much he is making as he at the same place, probably close to $500,000. What's up, Roscoe? If you have a PhD in STEM, you will make at least $1 million in big tech as a researcher. That's what I'm saying, guys. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Tech right now is the strongest sector in the American economy right now. It's literally probably 97, 98%, maybe more of non-ADOS people. White, Caucasian, Indian, Arab, whatever, you name it. But rarely are you gonna find somebody in tech that is of ADOS descent. That shit is rare. And I'm in Atlanta where it's a lot of people in tech that are ADOS. There's a lot of us here, but over across the country, if I leave Atlanta, this shit is way different. Maybe you might see that in Charlotte, Houston, Dallas, you might see it. You're not gonna see that shit in Montgomery, Too Tough. You got a few people, I take that back. But most across the country, most countries where they need tech jobs and tech people, it's white, Indians, and Asians. And even in Atlanta, it's mostly white, Indian, and Asians. When I go over there to Georgia Tech, is what those Indians, tell those Indians that degree that they gonna get out of school with in X amount of years is meaningless. Tell that to the people that will go up to Alpharetta and see those big ass $2-3 million houses that these Indians and Arabs and people in them that have come here, Asians have come here and built in Atlanta, right? They got shopping centers and all that shit. You go out there to Jimmy Carter over there where Jimmy Carter crosses 85, and they got their own little shopping mall over in that area. They got all that shit. That shit is straight. Everybody over there do IT. Damn near all of them. It's to sit and just ignore this shit. This shit is a major problem for us, because that right there is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to really actually address. Our lack of love for math. And then when I say it, what does math have to do with it? People don't understand. Math is the key to damn near. Come on, guys. Ain't the conscious hotels always telling us you don't know your math? You ain't do your math. Like, y'all know what, and look at what they doing with math right now. For us to be God and all this and that, like we talk, shit, man, why are we scared of math? If we weren't scared of math, it's just one or two little things that we could tweak in our communities that will fix probably damn near 65, 70% of our problem. Would there still be racism? Yes. It'll be a lot more difficult. We will be harder and more agile to have to stop. People whose average household income is $90,000, it's hard to stop them. It's hard. It's hard. See what I'm saying? When I hear people say shit like, well, they're able to create wealth out of thin air. Guys, the guys that started Google, okay? This is the story. All right, let me talk about you Google first. Google, the way it worked, 2 students, PhD students, in the PhD program in computer science at Stanford, which is hard as hell to get in, right? Because the average black person won't be able to get into that shit. We won't be able to get into no damn PhD program at Stanford. Black people won't, right? So what happened is they got in. They looked at the youth. They looked at the internet back in the days with all these old ass like Netscape and all these weird ass browsers and shit, and the search engines were weak as hell. You know what I'm saying? And what happened was somebody decided to say, hey man, 2 guys said, hey, let's create an algorithm to basically optimize a search engine so that when you go to a search engine, see, they saw a need, right? So they created under the hood, they created a browser, they created a technology. This shit ain't had nothing to do with creating this shit out of thin air. This is what's called intellectual property, guys. Intellectual property today, this is what's called the information age. This is why they call it the information age. It was intellectual property. They figured out a more optimal and expedient way to search the web. They created spiders. They created what's today we call commonly known as search engine optimization, optimizing shit. So when you go to a browser and you type something up now, this shit gives you exactly what you're looking for. And it's not on page 10 like it used to be in the 90s, right? You didn't have to go 10 pages in like you used to in the 90s. What did that do? Well, they went for a year, 12 months. They tried to lease, do a lease with or not lease, what they call it. They wanted to give the technology to certain search engines. None of them wanted it. They didn't have no fucking money. They were still in college, guys. So then what they did was they went to one of their professors, and their professor he worked out there. They lived in Palo Alto. He was a venture capitalist on the side, and he made a phone call to another guy who's a whale of an investor. This guy showed up. They sat there, stood their laptop up. They showed the shit to the guy. And in a matter of about 30 minutes, he was writing them a check for $100,000 to a company that they hadn't even incorporated yet by the name of Google. Misspelled, which is what you know it as today. They said when he wrote the check to the company, they didn't even have the damn company. They had to go and incorporate. So it ain't like they had no fucking money. They didn't have no damn money because they hadn't even incorporated yet. Is that creating some shit out of thin air? If that's what you call creating shit out of thin air, then you don't understand business. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If that's what you call creating wealth out of thin air, you do not understand business. Let's look at YouTube, the platform that we're on now, who just so happened Google bought YouTube, and each one of these guys got 100 and some odd million, 200 million, $300 million a piece. Each one of them. They split it like 3 ways, 4 ways or something like that. They each got $400 million a piece, right? So what happened, another situation, these guys created a dating website. They wanted to create a dating website. They created a technology. They said there was no video. They saw a need, right? And they had the skills. You guys, let me tell you something. The reason you go back to the late turn of the century, See, this, I'm gonna tell you a little dirty little secret about black folks. You know why the invention books is full of people like the black guy that Paul Williams that invented the helicopter? All these black people were able to invent shit because the labor force in America at one time was all black during slavery, right? So when they broke us free, this is when America was great for black folks, right? Like how Killer Mac talked about. When they broke us free, we had all these skills, and we earned the fruit of our labor. And in a matter of a few short years, in 15 years from slavery to the time they started Jim Crow, from that period, I think it was like a 25-year parenthetical period in between the 1865, the end of the Civil War in 1890, when Ku Klux Klan became proliferated all throughout the country. Black people were on a straight, going straight up just like that, right? And what happened is we had skills. And so this is why all these inventions that you see that black people invented, the stoplight, they invented this, they invented that, because we were the math, we were the skilled labor in this country. Now we are no longer the skilled labor in this country. We'll know that's not us anymore. It's people coming over here with the B1B or whatever those H1, whatever they call that shit, H1B, those visas. Those are the people, and they like math, they like science. And so they're inventing shit. That's why I can sit up here and talk about Google, shit that we use every day. I can sit up here and talk about YouTube, shit that you're using right now, and tell you that somebody came and invented that shit who actually had a propensity for HB1. Thank you. They had a propensity to like math. They had a propensity to H1B. Okay. They had a propensity to actually get into this shit, and we don't. And so what happened is they benefited from that. We didn't. That's what happened. That's all it is. That's the only reason that in another 75 years, it's not going to be a bunch of black people that invented shit. We're not inventing no more shit right now. A lot of us ain't inventing shit right. You ever notice that? Notice most of the people that invented shit was from like 1800s on up to like 1940, 1950. Type up Percy Julian, Nobel Peace Prize. This guy was from Montgomery. Nobel Peace Prize winner. You know what I'm saying? How did he get it? He was a chemist out of Montgomery, my hometown. Went up to the white school, was academically behind, went the first 48 hours and couldn't eat. He was in a racially segregated town. They didn't feed him then. He finally figured out how to eat. By the end of the year, he was valid. By the end of his year tenure at this white university, he was valedictorian. He went and worked for 3M. He went and worked for all these major corporations and companies and went over in France and shit. Like, this is a black dude. We don't know nothing about these people. And even if we do tell our kids about these people, how many black people right now getting a PhD in chemistry? How many black people right now are inventing shit right now? I mean, are there some? Of course there are. There's a black girl at Morehouse that invented a cure for cancer with some type of treatment that she does that cures rats and shit like that. They got it in clinical trials. She needs the money. She's black. But this shit is rare and far between. That shit was prevalent back when we were the skilled artisans and skilled labor in this country. We're no longer. Yeah, Percy Julian. He's a man in Germany where he studied the greatest minds of Europe. Exactly. I can't think of too many brothers like that today. We got a few trickled here and there. But back then, see, you gotta understand, all the labor in the country, all the skilled labor. You wanted some shit built by steel, it was a black man. You want somebody to frame up your house, it was a black man. You wanted somebody to do something, we built Washington, D.C. Benjamin Banneker, shit like that. People controlled, we were controlled. Now, I'm not saying that was good, but that's why we were able to build this shit. So now we could talk about these people and say, well, this guy invented this and this guy, and it's always around a certain time frame when they say that shit happened. There's a reason for it. Black excellence was when we got out of slavery. They say that was the first time and only time in history that a people went from 100% or 99%, 97% illiterate to over 60% literate in a matter of 25 years. That shit has never happened in history. See what I'm saying? So you're talking about a different race of people. You know, the World War II generation is called the greatest generation. I'll call that generation that got out of slavery our greatest generation. Because they after all the subjugation and bullshit they went through, within a matter of 30, 40 years, they shot up. So much so that if they had left us alone, we would run this motherfucker right now. It wouldn't be understood that everything you see is white on. Like, it wouldn't, they had to stop us. They had to. They couldn't, if they'd have left us the fuck alone. Guys, do you understand who the fuck we was gonna be if they had left us alone after Jim Crow? If there had been no Jim Crow, what would we have been able to accomplish? Or if they had just done Jim Crow and not did the sundown towns, which was very detrimental. Had they just left Jim Crow in place, guys, I'm gonna tell you another little dirty little secret, I believe. If they had left Jim Crow in place and not allowed black people to integrate into white organizations and companies, with the size of just by the mere size of the economy right now, there would be black tech, like, areas where it would just be, and then we would have invented shit. There was a black dude, what was his name? I forget his name. There was a black dude that owned a line of stores, and white people didn't know. This black dude shit was so excellent that white people was fucking with him hard. He made billions he was making in the 50s and 60s. And what happened was he fucked around and bought a major purchase. And they got upset. And white people, word got out there, wrote some articles about the shit. They boycotted him and ran him out of business. Cause see, they'll get on cold when it's time. You know what I'm saying? But when this guy, yeah, exactly. They stopped patronizing. But think about it, guys. I mean, there was a black guy that was that fucking cold. Guys, you got to understand how small the economy was. Like right now, we living in an economy where you got to take that into account. Like we talk about integration. We're living in an economy that is probably 10 to 20, 15 times bigger than it was in the 50s. When the Dow was like at 700, 1200, you know what I'm saying? Like when I think that when the stock market crashed, it was like 1200, 900, something like that. The Dow is at like almost 20 times that now. You know what I'm saying? Actually more than that, almost 30 times that. It's almost 30,000 now. Get through. You know what I'm saying? Warren Buffett is a good example. Warren Buffett dropped a few $100,000 in the market in the 70s. And now he's called the Oracle of Omaha or some shit. And if you think about it, all Warren Buffett did was just drop some money in there and went long on the market. He didn't do anything special. And now he's one of the richest guys in the world. You know what I'm saying? Basic shit. So if they'd have left black people alone and we didn't have to fuck with trying to integrate and beg them to take our dollars, like Jay Morrison did with that Houston, that type of shit, and then calls himself Young Malcolm, that's the bullshit. But anyway, if we had done that and left them, if they had left our dollars alone, we would have been able to have our economy flourish. We just needed, only thing I think we should have pushed for was equal protection under the law. That's the only thing that I think black people should have ever pushed for was equal protection under the law. Fuck the separate but equal shit. Because we were actually closer to our white counterparts academically back then than we are now. See, integration really fucked us up. And I don't think that was our idea on a lot of that shit. That's why I think King made the comment he made about, I fear I've integrated our people into a burning house. Because he knew it's a group of people that kind of orchestrated that whole little thing with the NAACP. Y'all know them. I call them the small hats. Same little group of people they was fucking with the Black Panthers. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that shit. I respect the hell out of Black Panthers, but that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? All this communism, socialism shit that a lot of us push. I'm gonna say this. I know this gonna really fuck up lose. I gotta try to lose some people, right? So let me go somewhere a little bit. The fact that a lot of y'all get scared when I use the word individual speaks to why we are where the fuck we are. And what do you mean? What do you mean? We gotta build, we gotta work together. Let me say something, man. Black folks are always told, we always talk about, man, we gotta work together. We gotta work together. Let me explain something to you guys. If I'm not first an individual who's out here trying to get it for my own and for myself, I can't then come collectively and bring shit to the table. If we think we can't even organize shit, it's always the first words you hear out of black people when we start talking about political strategy is what? We need to work together. We need to first stop shaming black people that believe in being an individual. We stifle individualism. No, I don't think you should stifle individualism. It's just like when we tell people, hey, we live in a democracy. This is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic where you basically elect an official to represent you, and that official goes to Washington or goes to wherever as a representative of his constituency, and he represents his people. That's how it works in politics. That's how it works that's how it should work in the black community, in the sense that black people, this is me, this is how I think it should function. We should push black people to own businesses. We should push black people to go get your education, go do whatever the fuck you gotta do. Then I'm not, see, I think when we lose each other is we stop right there and say, oh, you're gonna be selfish and you're gonna move your ass into the suburbs and you're gonna give a shit about your people. No, I give a shit about my people. I believe in coming back. And I think, thank God, through the mercy of God, I've been able to help a lot of brothers and sisters get jobs and get into the community and do what the fuck they doing. But I got there as an individual. I first started learning this shit on myself. I wasn't dependent on the black community to get me there at first. So once I get there, then I reach back and pull somebody else up. But it takes me being an individual to even get to that point in the first place. We demonize individualism. I had a dude tell me, one dude, I remember Auburn won the national championship with Cam Newton this years ago. And one of the dude got up there. And at the time, I wasn't familiar with the phraseology that a lot of football players use. So one guy said, yeah, man, out physical them. And I was like, it's physical. I put that on Facebook. I said, is that a word? Out physical them? Dang, they need to work with these kids on how they speak, how articulate they are. I think it was Fairley too. Whatever his name was, one of the defensive guys, right? So this guy came in my comment section. This guy I went to high school with. Man, stop talking all that individualism. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? So using proper subject and verb agreement is individualism? Is that what you're saying? He ain't saying nothing else. That's the problem. Like, I can't, no, telling something, like, it's to the point, we use this collectivist bullshit. A lot of times this collectivism causes us problems. You need to be an individual on a micro level. You have to be. If I'm waiting on the next motherfucker to pull me up, good luck. Because a lot of us don't have a community mindset. And those that do have a community mindset are so collectivist to the point where it almost, and it's not almost, it paralyzes us. It literally paralyzes a lot of black people in the community because they so, anti, a lot of us in the black community are anti-individual. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be. I think you should be an individual, guys. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? We're in a capitalistic society. So I don't care. Like the movie Wall Street, greed is good. I have no problem with you being greedy. I have a problem with you not. I have a problem when you don't give back to your community, when you don't give back. And I'm not talking about so much so that it costs you. See, we're very binary too. We're very binary. So it's either individual or collective. It's either I give back to my community and I don't have my dreams and I don't pursue shit and my whole life is fucked up because I done gave up my life and dreams because I gave back to the community. Or I say, fuck the community and I ain't gonna help the community and I'm gonna do me and fuck them. It can't be that I chase my dreams, I chase my desires, I do whatever I want to do. And in the midst of that, I still give back from time to time to help out where it doesn't cost me so fucking much. You see what I'm saying? You could do both. Black people don't think that. Black people we're very binary. No, you got to be this or you got to be that. And there are certain things are absolute. I do believe that. You know I believe that. But at the same time, certain times you don't have to be so binary in your thinking when it comes to being a collectivist or an individual. You don't. You don't have to be so binary when it comes to giving back to your community or, saying fuck the community. Like we see with so many YouTubers, that say fuck the community. Okay, so a cultural collective code is needed. Let me say this. I think there are a lot of black people that care about their community and want to help out in their community, right? The shit I'm talking is needed. I believe it. I believe black people are needed. We need black people who think on an individual level. If you saying, hey, I'm going to tell you what's individual. I'm going to break this down and live it out for you. So let's say one of my students come to me and say, hey, man, I want to make $90,000. I'm struggling. He thinking about himself. He ain't thinking about the community, right? So he goes, he takes my class, he gets out, he trains, he gets an interview. After a couple of months, he gets the job, right? So now he making $90,000, right? Now that brother comes back to my class and he teaches from time to time. Which this is what's happened in my class. Shout out to Mark. This the guy I'm talking about, one of my students, who gives back. He comes back, he gives, he teaches. He's so happy that I helped him that he told me I be trying to throw him money sometimes. He's like, man, I don't want no money, man. I just appreciate the fact that you helped me. You helped me get in the industry. My confidence is different. His swagger's different with women. Everything's changed now. He a whole different when he talk. He be on the damn class correcting me half the time. I don't even get mad about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to get mad about. But I'm just saying, that is how you live this shit out. Now, if I had been like such an individual that I said fuck the community, I wouldn't have taught that brother. I would have like fuck him. I got my money. I'm making good money. I'm making my little X amount of thousands of dollars a month, a week. Fuck that. I'm just gonna do this. I'm good. Me and mine are good. Fuck him. I didn't do that. How are we gonna move further as a people if I have that mentality? See what I'm saying? So I think it's okay for black people to say to themselves, okay, from time to time, I'm gonna give back to my community. I'm gonna do this and do that. This is what you see with Asians. This is what you see with Koreans when they get into the hair industry. They buy in a collective level, but they run their own fucking stores. They run their shit. They don't split the profit per se. They run their shit as individuals. But when it comes to time to buy and do certain things, we need to be able to know how to use both strategies. I think one of our biggest problems is we so fucked up in the head. We can't even have one black man challenge us on our own shortcomings without us being first taught as a collective that I'm going against the code. He's a coon. It's something. It's something. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying there's something that's hardwired into us that we have to believe and think collectively, and so much so that if you even have one dissenting thought that someone actually believes something different, that is actually a negative that is viewed as coontastic. And nigga, you off code if you say, hey man, black people only spend 30 minutes a night at homework. I'm off code. He's not recognizing white supremacy. He's not worshiping the white man. He doesn't think that the white man, wherever he does. So you telling me if I bust my ass 3 and 4 hours, I'm supposed to be God now. I'm supposed to be the original man, by the way, too. I'm supposed to be God. But you telling me that if I study 3 and 4 hours a day, that the white man is still gonna be there waiting on me, and he gonna stop me even if I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room. Huh? I think we blowing smoke up our own asses if we think we the smartest motherfucker. We not, guys. I'm sorry. Black people, you are not the smartest motherfuckers in the room no more. I don't see too many black people that can create an algorithm like that. I don't. I see a lot of Asians and Indians. I do. I don't see a lot of black people doing shit like that. I don't see us inventing shit like that. I don't. Now, are there? Of course there are a few. Of course there are. There's always a few. But we are not even in these spaces anymore. So to sit and just ignore that shit and say that it's racism and white supremacy is a collectivist mindset. That's why it's a problem. That's why I'm getting met with such disagreement from every time I go live. Somebody has to disagree. Programming, because we've been listening to the wrong people for so long on these YouTube videos and these Hotep and these podcasts telling us white supremacy this and white supremacy that. So much so that we give that shit. It's like saying, hey man, eating pineapple's good for you. It is, right? That's true. But if your ass eat too many pineapples, you get sores in your mouth. That shit is acidic. That shit will eat at your mouth, fuck your teeth up, all types of shit. Lemons are good for you. Eat a whole lemon. That shit will eat the enamel off your teeth. I eat a lemon every once in a while, but I don't eat them all the time because it will eat the enamel off your teeth. Is that white supremacy? You know what I'm saying? And that's the same with white supremacy. Does it exist? Yes. But there's a balance. We don't have balance in our community. We're out of whack. We're very matriarchal, right? We're very binary in our thinking. We can't adjust. We don't know about adjusting strategy. So if somebody gives us something and does something to us, we don't adjust our strategy to say, okay, well, they doing this now, so let's do this. No, I mean, like Barack Obama. That's why we got fucked with Barack. I saw that shit coming. I'm not trying to say like I'm a genius. I was a conservative anyway. But what I'm saying is anybody with any type of brain could see Barack Obama didn't even like black people. If you just halfway research, I'm talking about 5 minutes of research would have showed you that. And every time he got around black men, he had some slick shit to say about black men. That is a strategy. You talking to brothers from Morehouse telling them to be good fathers and raise their children? Man, that's a fucking insult. That's an insult. That means you don't give a fuck about your people. And you think that brothers that are educated and got their degrees from Morehouse ain't shit. Because he's from Harvard. He's from Harvard. He's from the Harvard Law Review. He thinks he's better than them Morehouse brothers. So he's telling them some bottom shit, bottom feeder mentality shit. A lot of black folks was upset. Stop complaining. Remember that speech? I ain't got time. Stop complaining. Stop whining. Like, oh shit. The balls of this mother. Would he say that to the damn Anti-Defamation League? Would he say some shit like that to the small hats? Hell no, he wouldn't say that shit. But black people are so binary. It's either hot or cold with Obama. Yeah, you can show. So what that means is, let me show you how that works. You can show them all types of negative shit with Obama, right? One thing they'll tell you, what's binary for people is you got to vote. These are all in the same little bowl. Okay, so you either, this is why we chose Obama. Because in the same bowl, what we had was, look, it's either the racist Romney, right? Which that's all they had in the other bowl was racist, right? Not voting went with the racist bowl. So not voting and then being racist. In the other bowl, Obama could do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. He's Democrat, right? And Obama told niggas all types of shit, said a lot of condescending, arrogant comments to the average black, everyday brother on the street. We didn't give a shit because for us, a lot of times not voting meant you voted for Romney. That's how it is now. That's how it is now. And I'm going to say this, Candace Owens was right in that little summit when she said, this is how they able to get you every 4 years. They come here and get your emotions all riled up, say the word racism, and then they use a phone on your dumb ass. And you know what I'm saying? They just do this shit because we're binary. We're not nuanced. If you're nuanced, you'll say, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm going to vote for whoever. I just need tangibles. See, that's what's starting to happen now. But look how fucking long it took us to get here. We about to be erased now. We about to be replaced. Why we could have used this shit 15 years ago. Now we done got to the point where it's more Hispanics in the country. And in a minute, they're going to be out voting our ass. And then we ain't going to matter in a fucking minute anyway. But at least now we're starting to get here when the shit about to start hurting. Now we want to start talking this way. Because more and more people are going to turn into that, tangible mentality in a minute. It's starting to happen. But that's what I'm saying. We're binary. We're still binarily programmed to be Democrat. We're binarily programmed to vote for the lesser of two evils. We're binarily programmed to ignore shit that you see racist people do in the Democrats and just say Republicans are racist. That's why I don't want to vote for them. That's what we do. I'm not trying to say be Republican. I'm just telling you in general. We're binarily programmed to ask stupid ass low IQ questions like what has the Republican Party done for black people? As if you voted for them, as if you gave them some support and they supposed to do anything for your ass. They're not supposed to. But you ask questions like that because you think that's a smoking gun. You know what I'm saying? Binary. We think binary. This is with the same thing I was talking about a second ago with the collectivist individual mindset. We are binary. It's either, when I say binary, true or false, 0 or 1. It's either 1, and when it comes to black people, the 1 or the true in that sense is, hey, you got to think like the collective. You can't break away from the collective. You can't think at all times. At all times. That's stupid. That's ignorance. You know what I'm saying? He could have really an executive order to divert money from education budget to start coding academics in black neighborhoods. Yeah. He could. Executive order. Yeah. He could have. It's all types of shit he could have did. He had the power. Especially that last little lame duck A period. Man, I wrote all types of shit. You could trust and believe I ever get my ass in any type of situation. I'm writing out check, bitch. Every black person that's a senator slave get reparations. Executive order. I'd have tried that shit. They'd had to stop my ass. And then I would have got in front of the camera and been like, okay, well, why are the Republicans upset? Because you complaining about these people getting all these welfare Section 8 programs, right? And then when I try to give them something so they can get off of it, so that they don't permanently become a leech on the federal government, you bitching about it. So which is it? Do you want them to get paid till they 60? Or do you want them to get a check and probably possibly be able to start businesses or put themselves in a situation where they don't have to pay taxes and pull themselves up by their, which is what you always tell them. I use their own words against their ass. Then with the Democrats, what the fuck they gonna say? They gonna claim they not against. This is divisive. You need to do LGBT. You need to do, okay, well, they are not well, I understand that, but black people are the ones that the federal, state, and local government specifically targeted, starting from COINTELPRO, starting from Jim, man, I couldn't be president because I say all that shit. I go back through all that history. Ain't nobody, I say, so I'm sorry, nobody, I feel for my LGBT brothers and sisters, and we made legislation to help them, but as it pertains to economics and the situation, every metric that you measure, black people at the bottom, and I'm trying to give people a chance to, like the Republicans say, and I get both parties to use their own words against them. That's the issue. But that's how you know this shit ain't ran by somebody, and anybody with some sense can see that shit. That's not even some complex shit I'm saying. That's not complex. What that is that just goes to show you that the government is ran by other forces that people we don't even see. Because that's anybody with a brain can see that shit. If I was Trump and I wanted to black vote, I would say that shit. I would do it. It would make, he would lose some support, but then he would gain probably 30, 40, 50% of the black vote if he did some shit like that. Why wouldn't he do that? Because he's smart. He understands if they do that shit, they're going to blow my fucking brains out. any president do some shit like that, they're going to shoot the shit out of him. So it's not that you're going to be given something. See, that's why I say there isn't such thing as white supremacy. Because the people that would kill Trump feel a certain way. If he was to do some shit, or if whoever, you know what I'm saying? The people that would kill a guy like that are the people that were probably the last president that even thought about coming close to some shit like that. They blew his brains out. The president before him was complaining about a military-industrial complex. Dwight D. Eisenhower, when he went out, what was he talking about? He was saying, "Hey man, look man, we are in fear of being hijacked by a military-industrial complex." This is what he said in his parting White House speech. Why is that not mentioned? You know, and everybody just ignores that shit. I didn't even find that shit out till like in the early 2000s. I didn't even know he said that shit. So that lets you know. You know what I'm saying? There's a systematic way that the government is not trying to specifically give you a like if you in a pit, right? If I come and lower into that pit a couple of ladders for you to get out, you might fuck around and get out. They're not doing that. That doesn't mean that you can't get out the pit though. You can get out the pit, but it's gonna have to be harder. It's harder. That's all. So I didn't say that. That's what I'm saying, guys. I don't believe that there's no such thing as those people that don't want to lower that ladder into that pit, even though it should be, because it's fair. And everybody else got a fucking ladder, but they don't give us one. They're not gonna give us what the fuck they owe us. I believe that. We're gonna have to take it. That's how shit works. So yeah, we all in a pit. And the only way we're gonna get out this bitch is if we own up on our shit, because nobody gives a fuck about us. Now we're becoming a super minority. Like it's gonna get to the point we're gonna make up 6% of the population in a minute, in another 40, 50 years. Then what? You know what I'm saying? We got motherfuckers out here telling us not to get married, not to have kids. So I mean, this shit going in reverse. So we really finna be a small super minority in a minute. So in order for us to get that pit and get out of that motherfucker, a lot of us are gonna have to reach critical mass, education, things that we take advantage of what the fuck you have in front of you. I don't give a damn if you're in the worst school in America. 2 and 3 hours a day of hard work will get you past that shit. I don't give a fuck where you at. You got a cell phone. You got me up here. You got people like me. I can teach you database development right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is email me, sub03639@gmail, and I can help you. You got so much at your fingertips. You got this phone that you're watching me on right now. You know what I'm saying? Alienate his core base for the black vote would not make sense. I don't think that Trump's would lose his total of his core base. I think he would lose a substantial amount. Of course, he was. A lot of them motherfuckers are racist that support Trump. A lot of people will still say either Trump. I think Trump would get a sizable amount of the black vote, at least 30%, at least 30. So yeah, he'll lose probably 25% of this vote and get another 30, 40%. However, he would, because he would be the first guy that's ever come along and even said some shit like that. But they would kill him. So I mean, I don't even think we need to talk about that shit. They'll kill him before they let that shit happen. If he did that shit and fucked around and got reelected, they'll kill his ass. That shit ain't finna happen. As China and India grow economically, more and more of their people will come to the U.S. and take skilled jobs. Yeah, cause we, why the fuck are they able to take skilled jobs from us though? And we right here. China's still, a lot of China's still like real poor. A lot of China is very poor. It's only like 10, 15% of them people that's even would be considered on our level to compete with us like that academic. So what if they get to 40%? You're right, it's over. They finna rape the shit out of Africa. That's what's finna happen. You know what I'm saying? You can do 4 years of math and science in the worst high school. Yeah. You guys, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you some real slick shit. Science, like if you, I don't give a fuck, because I've seen black people bitching about the schools and books and shit like that. Guys, that shit made sense in the 90s. If you still around here talking about we got old school books, you already telling me right now you got a 20th century mindset. You just do. You got a 20th century mindset in the 21st century. If you still talking about education is about money, if you really believe that shit, you have a 20th century mindset. Education is not about money. It's not. It never was, actually. It never was. I believe that shit. It's just, I think what happened in the past where they were able to easily keep education from certain black people through the education system. But once you remove those barriers, which they have done through technology, technology has removed those barriers, guys. They got little coding camps, man. I'm gonna make a video. I'm working home today. Working from home today. I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna throw some shit in. I'm just gonna throw it together right quick. It's gonna be a real little quick video. And I'm gonna show you guys like where they got little code camps. Motherfuckers will come here and just invent shit. And if a motherfucker like it, a venture capitalist will fund that shit right there on the spot. We can't even get in the room and compete on some shit like that because we don't even have the skills. We can't do no shit like that. But these Indians, people are coming in from India, people that are students. He said, man, we would stay in here for 48 hours. We'd lock ourselves in here and we would code. We would be, people would be laying around and shit, coding all day, 24 hours for 48 hours straight. And at the end, they would all make presentations. Some guy made an Uber for tutors and that shit got funded. He made an Uber for tutors. So if you need somebody to tutor your children, he created something like an Uber. Why the fuck? Like, you get what I'm saying? The creativity we're not in that conversation. We were 100 years ago. We're not in that conversation now. That is a problem, guys. That's a problem. That's why we are where we are right now. I'm not saying that there aren't things that can be done by the federal government to help black folks. Shit, yeah. I ain't no fool. But that shit ain't gonna get done. You know what I'm saying? And the powers that be that run the banking system, i.e. small hats, don't want to see us get there. They don't. So you never hear me say I don't believe in white supremacy. I never said that. You could tell a certain aspect of black people that they can make it. It's impossible in their mind. Yeah. You know how much I learned from the internet research, LOL. If I had the internet the way it is now when I was younger. Exactly. Desperation breeds innovation. We're no longer desperate. Thank you. That brother, that's probably the most, that's probably one of the deepest damn comments I've read in a while, bro. Right there. We're not hungry. Stuff is being done to help blacks right now, but it is disguised by hard work. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, guys, let me tell you something, and I'm gonna say something. People, when they hear the word hard work, they think, oh man, you telling me to pull myself up by the bootstraps. First of all, I really can tell you that shit today, though. If you're an able-bodied grown man, I worked as a waiter. I'm telling you, I done lived this shit. Let me tell you what happened. What happened? When I finished my training to get into IT, I had to work as a waiter, right? I saved up $500 waiting on tables in about 2 months while I was interviewing for jobs. I was working during the day, and then I interviewed for jobs and shit like that. Saved up by wait a minute. No, it wasn't even that long. It wasn't even that long. I take that back. I got a job in about a month. So it took me, I saved up $500 in a month. Waiting on tables. You're like, what the fuck is 500? That ain't no money. Yeah, but I was able to do it. I was able to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you've been working at the same company for X years, how much money have you saved? Well, I can't save money. Why? Well, man, I got debt, I got this, I got that. Okay, why is your lifestyle at that point? Well, I mean, I needed a car. Okay, you need a car. What type of car you got? Well, I wanted something nice. I ain't want no little cheap ass bucket. That's what you need to fucking ride. You need to ride a bucket. Well, I mean, I got a good car. Where you live at? What type of shoes you got? What type of cell phone? What you paying a month in your cell phone bill? I know black folks paying $170 a month for a damn cell phone. Come on, say amen. Come on, some of y'all on here right now paying. I make good money, decent money. I'm paying $60. I ain't paying that much. I know people that's with T-Mobile, Sprint, financing all them damn stupid ass phones. Guys, you know why my phone's so blurry? $125. Amazon. That's why. That's why my shit. I got a little small, cheap ass phone. It's not small, but it's cheap. It's a LG. LG. What is it? KP20, KG20, whatever it is. Man, I paid $125 for this damn phone, man. Black folk, we major on the minors, man. We do. We buy shit. We wear nice shoes. My shit be $50, $60. It ain't like it was when I was a kid. You couldn't get no shoes for no $50. It was instantly known that you was in some shoe city, pay less shoes when you went to school. Now, man, these kids got options, man. You can take $50, go on Amazon, buy you some nice shoes. You could buy, I'm talking about some nice shoes. Nobody will know. You know what I'm saying? First of all, $50 gets you way more today than it did in shoes than it did when I was a kid. I know that sounds crazy, but check this out, guys. When I was in school, if you ain't have $100, you couldn't get no nice shoes. You could get some $60 shoes, but everybody knew that shit was cheap. You got them cheap ass shoes. Because it was either go to Foot. Now I'm from Montgomery. You either go to Foot Locker, you go to Olympia. We had a store called Olympia, and that was it. Those are the places that you got your shoes, and they had shoes. Jordans was $150, guys. Think about it. Jordans was $150 back then. They still are. But minimum wage is like damn near $8, man. So you could work as a kid 20 hours and buy you some fucking Jordans. It took me, I had to work 40 hours just to get some Jordans. And kids ain't gonna work 40 hours in high school. So it take me 2 or 3 weeks to make that kind of money. Then you got gas, food, shit like that. So you kind of struggling back in my day to make over. The minimum wage was $3.35. And the shoes was $150. Now minimum wage is all $8 and the shoes are $150. It's easier. Plus you can go in these places now. You got little $50 shoes that you see at these stores. You got Journeys, you got so many different choices. Clothing is easier now. You see what I'm saying? When I was coming up, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. Clothing was actually easy. Shit is easier it's easier to look nice now than it is back when it was when I was coming up. That's why that's why motherfuckers used to joke and talk about me all the time. Because my mama paid $60 for some shoes, and people, oh, he got them little cheap ass turn techs on, them cheap ass ponies. We used to joke on ponies. We thought that shit was ugly. Pumas. We used to joke on niggas that wore Pumas. Now Pumas is nice shoes, but there was a time people used to laugh at Pumas. They used to laugh at ponies. They used to laugh at turn techs. Adidas always got respect. We had some shoes called Troop with LL Cool J. Those shoes are $150. They rivaled Michael Jordans. We had British Knights, BKs. Y'all remember them? You know what I'm saying? Those shoes cost a lot of, they cost money, man. $100 shoes. Now, man, shit, you get a lot of them shoes for $50. Them shoes I'll be wearing all the time. Them black shoes. Bought them last week, $49.99. You know what I'm saying? Pro Wings, that's another one. You know what I'm saying? So I like I say, guys, I think a lot of shit that black people have now at their disposal, man, it ain't. Guys, let me tell you some real shit. I interviewed a guy on my channel. I'm gonna tell you his name is Tyrone Spear. Tieron Spear, Spear. Let me tell you what this brother did. This brother went to a Bronner Brothers hair show and figured out how to make hair products, how to get them made. Then he did some research and created his own proprietary blend, right? And then he went and started an Amazon store. When I met this brother, he was only making $20,000 a month, which is still a hell of a feat. But he had quit his job. He said, I'm doing this full time. Now, when I talk to Tyrone, man, Tyrone clears over $250,000 a month. This is a black man. The couple called, what's the name? Hair Mix that was on Shark Tank. Black couple. created their own natural hair products. They did the same thing. They spending $250,000 just in marketing per month, right? Talk to another brother. He sells shea butter. Okay, I don't know how the fuck he's selling shea butter and making $50,000 a month, but he is. Black dude, quit his job. It's so many black people that's winning that's under the radar that don't have to deal with, that have broken free. A lot of them are in this city right here, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? If you live in Chicago, you live in DC, go to an area called the gathering spot. A lot of black people in there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of black people in there winning, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't say 40. If I said 40 million, I meant $250,000. 250,000. That's what I meant. You know what I'm saying? He makes 250,000 a month. So he's making about 3 million a year. That's what I'm saying. That's a black man. Like, what is it about white supremacy creating shit out of thin air? You can do that shit too, guys. Guys, guess what? You can go and create a eBay store or Amazon store, copy and paste some shit, right, off another website. You could create an ad on eBay. Now, there are courses and there are people that can teach you this shit. And you can just drop ship. You don't even have to have no fucking money. Like, am I the only one that knows this? I'm sure I'm not. It's the internet. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people have created Shopify stores and drop ship and drop? I know a brother living in Thailand. I actually spoke to him on the phone. Black dude. Got a YouTube channel. This dude lives in Thailand. He makes $20,000 a month. All he do is drop ship. He said he gross $1 million, but he only keep about 25% of it, 25, 30% per year. He said he need to push it. He said, man, he only work about 30 minutes a day. That's it. Come on, y'all. He check his email every day, ship his shit off for 30 minutes, and he gone. Rest of the day, he over in Thailand doing whatever the hell he wants. This is a black dude from America. So we ain't the only white people. You saying they create wealth out of thin air? So can we. If you got access, if you on here now and you can watch this video, you can be a millionaire. It's really that fucking easy. I got a homeboy that made $300 in a night fucking around. Dog, let me tell you something. You could go on, what's the name of that? Udemy. You could go on Udemy and buy shit on drop shipping, like buy the latest one called drop shipping, Shopify drop shipping. Just type those two words up. There are courses on there and look at them. And there are people that will teach you step by step for $5 fucking. Teach you step by step what to do. They will show you their own accounts, how much money they make. Because I bought a couple of them. And I've seen that shit. I've seen it. And I see people go type that shit up on YouTube. There are people on YouTube making money. They showing you their personal accounts. There are people doing this shit, bro. And yet you still got niggas out here talking about white supremacy can create wealth out of thin air. Create money out of thin air. We can't. See what I'm saying? Yes, you can. I see this shit all the time. It's not that they're creating it out of thin air. It's that you don't believe, man. You don't believe, bro. If you don't believe, you don't have faith, guys, then, you know what I'm saying? They say faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. Do you have faith? Do you believe that you can move mountains? Do you believe that you could do this shit? If you don't believe, then you're not going to. You are right. It will be a self-fulfilling prophecy for your ass. If you really believe that you can be successful and grow your shit and grow it to a certain level where you're able to compete